Welcome, everybody, back to today's episode of Home Solutions, here from the brand new, sparkling, clean Mix 104.1, 101.3 The Buzz Studios. Dennis Purvis here with you as always. Happy Saturday to everybody out there. Pro 93 Home Solutions gladly is the sponsor one more time. And remember, folks, if you've got any home repair needs from handyman issues to full-blown remodeling, we are a licensed, bonded, and insured home improvement contractor. We would love to talk to you about your next project. Big or small, give us a call, 458-4135. Maybe you just need your home cleaned or maybe your office cleaned. Give our clean team a call, 458-4135, or check us out online at pro93homesolutions.com. You can request a free quote or an estimate right there on our webpage. We would love to hear from you. But enough about me and our shameless plugs already on this Saturday morning. Today, folks, as the only local home and garden show here in the area, we're going to talk about your garden today, your yard, things you need, the tools you need to make things happen. I've got two guys with us today here in the studio that can work on anything you got, ladies and gentlemen. Stout Enterprises is here. I've got Lewis Stout, Travis Humphrey, two guys that know more about small engines than I will ever know. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you this morning. Everybody doing well, safe, healthy in the family?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's good news. So the real question is, can you really fix anything?
Oh, we can make your lawnmower blow grass 3 yards down.
That's what we're looking for. Just as a personal plug, I'll tell you that I've used their services. My lawnmower is literally a rebuilt engine or a brand new engine in an old mower. I think I've got the loudest, coolest, best, fastest mower well, at least on my block. It's good because my wife, she loves to drive fast. Lewis knows that firsthand. She fights me to get who gets to mow grass. So that's a good feeling. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys do. First, let's talk about the Stout Enterprises story. I know Stout Enterprises, there's a lot of things under that. So tell us a little about your story, Lewis. How'd you guys end up here? How long you been here?
Well, I've lived here all my life, 63 years almost. Started the business in '92 in the basement of an apartment I was living in, and just grew the business to what it is now. We work on small engines, tillers, pressure washers, generators, chainsaws, weed eaters, whatever you have. Small engine-wise, we can repair it. We built motors for mud boats. We built motors for junior dragsters, racing lawnmowers, pulling tractors, go-karts, of course. We race go-karts. Just any small engine need you have.
And did I hear you guys, we were talking a little bit right before we came on, did I hear you say you built an engine for an ultralight aircraft?
Yes, sir. We built an engine for a fellow in Texas for an ultralight.
Holy cow. So you guys, and I'm assuming you guys are located here in Cleveland?
Here in Cleveland, Tennessee, at 190 Starlet Circle Northeast. I have a shop behind my house.
Yeah?
Been there since '93.
It's when he says he has a shop, folks, he has a pretty good one. You got a full machine shop in there, right?
Full machine shop. We can do any repairs. We do a lot of custom building of mini bikes. Even built a fella a custom wheelbarrow go-kart.
What? Okay.
Rat rod.
A rat rod. Okay, there you go. See, I didn't even know this. Listen, I'm gonna tell you. I grew up in Ohio, and Travis, I know we talked a little bit. You're from Indiana. Being in the Midwest, it seems to me like lawn mowing racers, things like that. Those were things that happened at the county fair. It was like a one-time-a-year thing. I had no idea that was a thing until I came to the South, and people spend lots of money souping up lawnmowers. I'm assuming that's you love that idea. You love it when they call you to take care of that. So, how a small engine? How much horsepower can you get out of an engine like that?
Well, we can take a Honda GX 200 6.5 horsepower, produce around 32, 34 horsepower.
Wait a minute, didn't you say it was a 6 horsepower engine?
6.5 horsepower to start off, single cylinder.
Yeah.
Overhead valve.
Yeah, and you guys are just acting like this is no big deal. I'm sitting over here going, first of all, I want to drive whatever is going to be attached to that. Okay, so for folks that are out there that maybe they've got that lawnmower in the shed or the weed eater that's messed up, how do they get a hold of you guys?
They can give us a call at 423-584-6663. That's the shop number, or my cell phone, 423-715-3897.
Gotcha. And you guys have a web page they can see your information at?
We do at www.stoutracingengines.com.
Fantastic. So we'll get to the racing part in just a little bit, but talking about small engine repair and the different things you guys do, what is, what's the most common, Travis, what's the most common repair you guys see when it comes to mowers, weed eaters, sort of those sort of things?
Carburetors.
Yeah.
The gas that's in the engines nowadays just doesn't like to sit and not be used, so we see a lot of just basically going through the carburetors, cleaning those out, getting them run where they've sat for 2-3 months, tried to start them up, they won't start, just need the carburetor cleaned out because of the bad fuel that we have nowadays.
And listen, here's the thing to remember, folks, is, before I found these guys, I didn't have a small engine guy. That's not something everybody's got on speed dial. I know a lot of folks, they either have, dead lawnmowers, dead soldiers sitting in the out back, or maybe they're sitting in a shed they just think this thing's beyond repair. The thing I learned even coming with you with getting the mower I got, really, especially right now, having somebody that has the knowledge and the know-how where to get the parts, you can repair and kind of bring these things back to life. A lot of times, a lot cheaper than going out and spending. I mean, some of these mowers are $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 now. What would your advice be to somebody who's got a mower that they've kind of given up on?
Well, the best thing to do, let me back up a little bit. Stay away from ethanol fuel. Try to find pure gas if you can get it.
Absolutely.
Even the gas we have now is not like it used to be, so even it won't last forever.
Yeah.
Because they took additives out of it that's preservatives. But if you're going to shut it down for the wintertime, drain the fuel out, get it out of your carburetor, and then be able to pour fresh fuel in it, start it back up the next year, will save you bunches of money down the road.
And if you don't want to take the time to get the gas out of it, at least through the wintertime, try to go out and start your mower at least every couple of weeks, month at the most. Let it run 5-10 minutes. That you'll do yourself a big favor by doing so.
So for those folks that are listening, that maybe the thought of draining fuel out of anything scares them to death, is this a service you guys can provide and help them winterize and get ready for the winter?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So if you're out there and you're thinking, that sounds something I don't really want to do, you can give Lewis and Travis a call. They'll take care of you. They'll get you set up. So let's talk about, the difference in maintenance. Folks that have even riding lawnmowers, push mowers, weed eaters, what do you guys suggest? With our cars, we think about, we got our oil changes and our tires. What do you guys think what do you guys recommend for folks that have these sort of lawn tools? What's a good maintenance schedule for them to be on? Do you need to change the oil like you do in your car? Do your tires? How do you recommend to folks?
Well, a lawnmower tire is just like a car tire. In the wintertime, it'll lose air. So, keeping your air pressures up will keep the tires good. Try to store it out of the sun, because the sun will dry rot the tires. It's possible, but if it's outside, drape a tarp over it. You definitely need to change the oil. The oil is the life of the motor. Air filters, fuel filters. If you mow in a dusty condition, pull the air filter out when you get done, blow it out, smack it on the table, knock the dust out of it. Dust is a number one killer of the engines.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And mowing the grass is a dusty environment to begin with, not like driving down the road in your car. So even if you don't clean the air filter for a few dollars, you can buy a new air filter to put in the engine.
Gotcha.
That's a great preventative step.
Folks, they're saving you money. Just listen to the knowledge. It's so maintenance is important, obviously. How often do you recommend an oil change in a mower?
I would do it at the beginning of the year before you start. You know, let us bring it in. We'll do an oil change. A service is basically oil change, oil filter, spark plug. We'll check your air filter. If it needs to be changed, we'll change it. We'll blow it out. Your pre-filters, clean those. You know, sharpening the blades, checking your belts to ensure your belts are not dry rotted and cracking. Pressure wash it. We'll take and grease all the fittings in your front steering, and all people forget that.
Yeah.
So it's a full, just like your car, you take it in to be serviced. We basically do the same thing with a lawnmower.
Well, the way some of these are priced right now, you need to take care of those things about like you do your car, because they're getting up there in price and kind of they, you know, cup holders and Bluetooth and all this stuff that they've got on these new models now that you can get taken care of. When you guys you said something about sharpening blades, you know, that's one thing I think people forget about, especially older mowers. You know, that's just not we think. I know personally, I think about oil and gas because it's an engine. The blades are often the last thing on my mind. How can somebody know if they need their blade sharpened?
They would have to lift it up and look up under it. I mean,
Yeah.
blades get dull. Grass does dull steel.
Yeah.
Hitting rocks and hitting sticks in the yard, you know, should go out and pick up any sticks prior to mowing.
Yeah.
Because you run over those, that will dull a blade. It puts niches and stuff in the blade.
And you guys sharpen all those right there in the shop, right?
Absolutely.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Let me add to the blade. You can actually look at your grass. If your grass has a jagged cut to it after mowing the grass, it's not a nice clean cut like a nice clean sharp pair of scissors would cut the grass. If it's more jagged, that's an indication that your blades need sharpened. Also, a dull blade does two things. It doesn't cut the grass in a nice clean cut, which is harder on the grass. It kind of browns the top of the grass instead of keeping it nice. A nice clean cut won't do that. And also, a dull blade will make the engine on the mower work harder.
Yeah. Which you're taxing.
Which, there again, yeah, I mean, you've got an expensive lawnmower, and it's working double time with dull blades, just like you trying to cut something with a dull knife. You're working harder.
Well, listen, we got to we're up against our first break, but folks, are you picking all this up? Lots of maintenance, lots of ways. These guys are telling you things you could do to save you money in the long run. Proper maintenance, I think, is what we've talked about a lot here. Make sure you're properly maintaining. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what you can do to lengthen the life of these power tools that you've got. But also, Stout Enterprises does a lot of other fast things, and we've got a champion race driver sitting right here in the studio with us. So we'll talk more about that here in the next segment. Stick around. Don't turn that dial. Come back and see us here at Home Solutions on 104.1 and Buzz 101.3. Welcome back, everybody, here to the studios, Mix 104.1 studios here in Cleveland, Tennessee. Another episode of Home Solutions here. Dennis Purvis back with you. We got the guys from Stout Enterprises here, Lewis Stout and Travis Humphrey here with us today. Special thanks there during the break. We had a little technical difficulty. Thanks to Austin and Ryan for being quick on their feet and getting us taken care of so we can get back on the air and back to you guys. So when we left, we were talking about maintenance issues primarily with mowers. So let's talk about kind of the two-cycle engines. You know, I know you guys do a lot of work on blowers and edgers and weed eaters. Maintenance. You know, they're small, much smaller. Most folks can talk about that. For folks that are listening out there and don't know, what's a two-cycle? Why do I have a little gas tank in my garage that says two-cycle only? Talk to me about that. Explain that to everybody.
Well, basically, a two-cycle is two-stroke, and a four-cycle is four-stroke. So you have to have an oil mix with the two-stroke, usually 40-to-1 mix, and you mix it in with your fuel, and it pulls through the intake into the crankcase, and then it's pulled up the side of the piston and fired, and then it goes out the exhaust in two strokes versus the four-stroke. The ethanol fuel that's in gas now just eats stuff up.
It's corrosive to the
It's
to
very
the metal.
corrosive to the carburetors. It's very corrosive to the pistons and stuff in it. So you need to be sure you get the mix right.
Yeah.
And at
Yes.
the end of the year, you need to pour the fuel out and fire it up and run every bit of the fuel out of it is the best thing to do for it. And then at the beginning of the year, get your fresh fuel with fresh mix, because that old fuel won't be any good, and start back over with new stuff. But here again, air filter is important as well,
Yeah.
especially with a chainsaw, because you'll be pulling in a lot of dust and shavings from sawing.
And I think you made a good point there about fresh fuel, because especially with getting a mix, I'm guilty of it. I've had a 2-cycle can sitting. I don't know how long when I put that gas in there when I mixed it, but
'Cause you just
it
don't use
wasn't
it that
this
much.
year.
Yep.
I can tell you that. So, is it really each year you need to get, especially with the fuel today, even if you're getting 100% gas? Do you still need to swap that out every year for a new mix?
Yes, sir. When they took benzene out of the fuel, benzene was a preservative, just like our preservative in food.
Yeah.
So now the fuel won't last.
Wow.
So it's best to just pour it out, find a place to dispose of it, put fresh in it, start afresh.
And use a high quality 2-cycle oil to mix with your fuel.
Yeah.
That's very important as
Is there
well.
a product you guys recommend for that?
True Fuel is a mix that you can buy at just about any part store, at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart carries it. It's a 92 octane pure gas with the correct mix. You can get 40 to 1, 50 to 1.
And that'll take the guesswork out of it. You don't have to mix it. You can pour it straight in.
You just pour it
Exactly.
straight in, and
It's engineered fuel, so it will last a lot longer than pump gas. Maybe a little more expensive, but if this is a piece of equipment that you don't use very much, would be well worth it.
Yeah. One thing about weed eaters, you see all these TV infomercials about the magic blades and all this stuff. You got the kind of this new plastic blade versus the string trimmers. Is there one that's better or worse? It's just a personal question, because I see all those infomercials. Like, I've never had a big problem with the string trimmer. I don't know why I need all. I mean, yeah, you got to change them out.
it's just a thing where companies try to come up with something new to get people to buy.
Gotcha. You still
I
gotta
prefer an
you
old
still-
string trimmer, but
Yeah, you still got to replace those things. It's still going to, especially weed eating. If you're edging a sidewalk or up against stuff all the time, you're going to eat through. I don't care what the blade's made of. It's going to have to be replaced just like string.
With the string, I can say, look at the specs on your weed eater. A lot of the string is what, Lewis? How many thousandths thick?
65 to 95.
And obviously you'd want to stay on the higher end on that 95, but that's a little thicker string,
Yeah.
which will last longer. That way, especially if you're weeding around rocks, things that really break that string off quickly, the thicker string will last longer for you.
And remember, we had Keith Davis from Davis Heating and Air here a couple weeks ago. Don't be careful, very careful about weed eating and mowing around your air units outside. Guess what, folks? Those big boxes you got outside your house, they're sucking in air, which means if you blow your grass clippings right at them, guess what you're doing? Just blocking up your coil, because you're making your system work even harder. And I say that because Davis Heat and Air came out to my house and told me I was blowing too much grass clippings into my. So I'm guilty there. So thanks, Keith. I'm good now. Yeah, be careful with those things. So we've talked about weed eaters. This chainsaws. I know. Unfortunately, we have quite a few storms here every year, and people get to, a lot of folks that haven't. I know actually your shop got hit in the tornado a few months ago. We were out there. I know with the chainsaw showed up from everywhere. With chainsaws, you were talking earlier, what's a good maintenance side? Because those are items you may use once a year, you may not use for a while. Is it the same thing? Should you need to drain the fuel? What do you guys suggest for proper storage and maintenance with chainsaws?
The same thing. The thing with a chainsaw is a lot of people will run the chain too loose, which wears out your bar. That's rough on your bar, and it wears the guides on the chain. When you're sawing with a chainsaw, don't hit the dirt. That'll dull one quicker than anything.
Yeah.
And trying to run a chainsaw with a dull blade really loads the motor down, and
Just like those dull blades on your mower.
just like the
And
blade on the mower.
you guys, if anybody's got questions about Is my chain too loose? What have I got going on? Is it sharp enough? You guys perform all that services there at the shop, correct?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
And just one more time, how do they get a hold of you guys if they're here and, oh my Lord, I need to get that. I've had the same 2 cycles sitting in my weed eater for 2 years. What do they need to do to get a service from you guys?
Just give us a call, 423-584-6663. That's the shop number. And we'll, if we don't answer the call, we're either on the phone or in the shop working, we'll give you a call back. Answer any questions you have.
Just leave us a message.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I teased it last time. I think we've talked. Is there anything else before we go to break? Anything else small engine wise you guys want to talk about services you guys offer? We've covered about everything. I want to make sure we're not leaving anything out for what you guys do.
We winterize just about anything. You know, your pressure washers, your tillers, your generators, all that stuff.
And people don't realize too, you guys have a pretty big part shop where you're at. Plus, you have access to get just about anything you need for any small engine, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So listen, trust me on this because I know this firsthand. What he can get parts and engine for isn't what we're going to go buy parts and engines for. It's worth it to go see these guys, get them to take care of you, get them to take care of your equipment. It'll save you so much money in the long run. Just like you wouldn't let your car run without an oil change. You're getting the tires checked, getting the engine once over, getting a tune-up. Let these guys take care of it. I can tell you personally, they do great work. They take care of our tools at Pro 93. He's worked on some air tools for us as well. Folks, they're the guys that can look at anything, take it apart, and figure out exactly what's wrong. Go ahead.
Just to let you guys know, we're a Honda Repair Center, the Champion generators and pressure washers, live fan.
Generators. You guys work on generators as well?
Yes, we do.
Fantastic.
But we do service work for all those. Briggs and Kohler, just about every manufacturer.
So the real question, folks, is if you've been passing that every day you get in your car and you look at that dead soldier lawnmower sitting in the corner, or that weed eater that used to work great, and you're like, oh, should I just go buy a new one? Get a hold of Lewis. Get a hold of Travis. Let them take a look at it. Bring that dead soldier back to life for you without having to go spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on new pieces of new equipment that, to be honest, you're probably not going to properly maintain, just like the last one. I'm guilty of it. Lots of us are. They sit in our garage. They're the kind of tools that when we need them to run. We need them to work. So just having the proper maintenance and having somebody that you can call to have the answers. And you guys, what do you guys charge for just a basic estimate? Having somebody brings it in, what's your guys' fee for estimates and teardown?
Typically, a push mower is like start off $39 for a service on it. A ride mower is like $89. As far as pressure washers and generators, we just have to look at them because there's more things that can be wrong or happen. And the thing about a pressure washer, just be careful when you use it. If you're adding chemicals, when you get done, take your hose out and put it in a bucket of water and run water through
Flush it
to
out.
flush it out, because those chemicals here again will mess up the seals in the pump just sitting there,
Yeah.
and you'll
Corrosive
be buying
to
a
the
new
system.
pump.
Jeez. It's like they're taking the stuff out we need, and then we're putting stuff in that's eating it from the inside out. You know what that is for you guys? Job security. There you go. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about what are the other sides of Stout Enterprises. If you're watching on Facebook, you can see their shirts right there. Turn around and show them that. Stout Racing Engines. We're going to talk a little racing when we come back. You're listening to Home Solutions right here on Mix 104.1 and 101.3 The Buzz. Welcome back. Got a couple more segments here on Home Solutions. Happy Saturday to everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope your family's safe. Listen, we've got some we got some championship. Whew, you can just feel it here in the studio. Some racing champs sitting here. We've been talking with Lewis and Travis from Stout Enterprises, and part of Stout Enterprises is Stout Racing Engines. And I know we've got several folks in this area that are big into karting and go-karting. I will tell you that when I thought about go-karts, I thought about, oh, yeah, what you do over there at Pigeon Forge. You know, you go down the strip and drive around in a circle. And then I went to my first go-kart race, Lewis. He invited us down. I went down to see it. I went reluctantly. I'm going to go ahead and just tell you, I was like, how exciting can this be? And then I saw probably a 9-year-old going 40 miles an hour or faster in a go-kart and thought, oh, all right, this is pretty cool. Folks, if you haven't had a chance, there's plenty of tracks around this area. Something that is absolutely a blast to go watch and go be a part of. And Stout Racing Engines, one of the biggest names in engines around here in go-karting. I don't want to be telling tales out of school. That's pretty accurate. You guys are pretty well known around here, correct?
Yes, sir.
So talk about got Travis sitting here. You've been behind the wheel of a few go-karts in your time, haven't you?
About 16 years now.
16 years.
Yep.
And Lewis, you had a little stat before we came on here. You were talking about out of your last 20 races,
21 races, we won 17.
Getting it done. Wow, 17 out of 21.
17 out of 21.
How many of those are you, Travis?
All of them.
Look at it. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah. So were the other 4 his fault?
Yeah, just circumstances. Can't win them all.
Yeah, but you sure like to try.
Sure like to try.
And am I wrong that you've actually raced in nationals before?
Absolutely. Yes, I've been a Tennessee state champion and national runner-up.
National runner-up?
Yep.
From little old Cleveland, Tennessee?
Yep.
That is crazy. So, Travis, let's talk for a second. How did you get into go-karting?
Actually, I had a friend of Lewis's that introduced me to Lewis because he was into go-kart racing, and that's kind of how I met Lewis. As far as my interest in racing, I grew up 20 minutes north of Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Oh, yeah.
Came from a family. We didn't have the funds for me to race when I was younger, but something that's always been a passion to me. I met Lewis, and I guess the rest is history.
And you just like to go fast.
I just like to go fast.
Yeah, a little Ricky Bobby action. I like it. If you're not first, you're last. So, Lewis, I know you talked about the small engine repair and starting it out of an apartment when you started. Was go-karting part of that then?
No, not right off. I used to have an auto repair shop, and I closed it down.
Yeah.
And all the computers hit. And I just started tinkering with lawnmowers because I'm the type of person I got to have something to tinker with. And a friend, John Passvant, Gerald Williams, was racing them and called me up and asked me to come give him a hand because I used to run stock cars at Cleveland Speedway. So I went over there and he got me hooked. So 29 years later, I'm still participating. I don't drive anymore. Travis drives for me, but I'm still there at the track, turning wrenches and doing what I need to do.
Well, and the race I went to, I can tell you, you have cars that are Stout Racing cars, but you've got engines in several other folks' cars and carts there at the track, because you weren't just working on Travis's while you were there or Robbie's while you were there. You were all over the place. People were coming up. You're kind of the engine doctor in some of these tracks, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I go around helping our customers at the tracks. Travis is the tire guru. People come to him about tires. Tires are very important in racing.
So what makes tires so important? Even on dirt track, go-karts, what do you got? What's the secret?
It's the only thing touching the ground. That's where all your traction comes from, just like on your car. A little more critical on dirt racing. The chemicals that we put on the tires to make them softer or harder, the air pressures that we run, circumferences for stagger values to make the cart turn left on an oval track.
Yeah.
A lot of factors that go into the tires. Very important. Probably the most important thing on the cart to make them go fast.
So if you're like me and you're only experienced with go-karts, are those little putters around the strip there in Pigeon Forge, people would probably freak out the first time, because I know I did. I had no idea. And it's about how much can you get out of that engine. Everybody's got to run the same kind of engine, correct? Like NASCAR. There's parameters and rules everybody's got to get to. It's about how you can tweak that little bit of extra out of it, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. We all have a set of rules to go by class. It's you have a specific engine, then you have a weight. Each class has a certain weight that you have to be that weight or above. But yeah, if everybody wants the most power they can get, and we try to supply that for them.
And you guys, and you now that's not only for, and then when you talked about, that's where you said you've had some engines and some really cool things like ultralight aircraft. But did I hear, who was talking about a monster truck?
That would have been me. We built a motor for a junior monster truck.
You are kidding me.
Yep.
Folks,
Yep.
Mini Bigfoot.
if
Yeah,
you're a
mini
wannabe
Bigfoot.
gearhead, you need to know these guys. If you want to get into some go-karting, you need to know these guys because you guys also build and outfit carts and chassis and everything for folks, correct?
We don't build the chassis, but we are a distributor for go-kart chassis.
Perfect.
So, we can come and we can get them set up.
Yep. Get them on the scales and get them set up. Get the weights. Get all the weight distributions correct, so it performs the way it should on the track.
Basically, a go-kart is the same as a NASCAR. We have the same setups, the same caster camber, lag lead, all that they do. We just don't have spring suspension. That's basically the only difference. Our spring rate for the go-kart is built into the tires.
One more thing important about those tires.
There you go. I bet it is. So when you guys are out and about traveling around, what's the furthest you went to race, Travis?
The furthest we went to race would have been Daytona or Mississippi.
Yeah.
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 We went to the Nationals in Mississippi. That's where we was runner-up. And then we go to Daytona for the Nationals down there just the day after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The track's right outside turns 1 and 2. If ever you see an aerial shot of Daytona, the
That is
go-kart
awesome.
track's right outside 1 and 2.
So you've raced at Daytona.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me that first time wasn't cool.
It was different racing on sand, and I tell you when we raced on the sand, you could actually smell fish. At one point, that sand we were racing on had been in the ocean.
Yeah.
It was different. Yeah.
Yeah. That is crazy. I mean, as somebody that grew up, like you said, loving racing and knowing that's something that was a passion of yours, you had to love getting out there to. You can say that
Just
you raced Daytona.
There's something special about racing in Daytona. And Indianapolis, right outside where I grew up, is the racing capital of the world. But Daytona's a very close second. Very close
Have you got
second.
to race in Indy yet?
I have. I haven't raced in Indy. I've raced in Indiana up in Crawfordsville at Ben Hur Speedway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Well, these are guys. Just so you know, I know these guys, and I'm learning stories today. This is fantastic. I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is Stout Enterprises in studio with us, Lewis and Travis. They do all sorts of small engine repair, from everything from your weed eater and your blower to your riding mower to your generator. You've got a small engine, you've got a problem, you need to give them a call. One more time, Lewis, how do they get a hold of you guys?
423-584-6663 is the shop. And you can just leave a message. If we don't answer, we'll get back with you. Also, I want to put a note in here. If they've got an old go-kart sitting around the back that needs attention, we can get that yard cart going back up for their kids as well.
There you go.
That's right.
I know you've got quite a few grandkids that have all been behind a wheel a few times, enjoying it. So people think of go-kartings as a kid's thing, and there are kids that race. I mean, what are you talked about the different classes? Where do they start with the ages, and how old do drivers go?
On asphalt, they can start at 6, but on dirt, they have to start at 7 years old. But they run restrictor plates with the kids.
Yeah.
They got a red plate, green plate, purple plate, blue plate's the biggest, and then they go into light, into when they get 14 or older, they can go into the adult class. But
And those restrictor plates slow them down.
Yeah.
That's what they're for.
Yeah.
So Travis, what's the oldest driver you've had to compete against, you think?
I've raced against guys in their 70s, 72, I think. And ironically, we were racing the fastest class of the night, the limited modifieds. Limited modified, just to give people an idea, they think of a go-kart, 30, 40 miles an hour is flying. Limited modifieds, quarter-mile track, just under a quarter-mile track. We turn lap average speeds probably around 80, 85, 90 miles an hour.
In a go-kart.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Me and the go-kart and I weigh together 375 pounds,
Sheesh.
running 85, 90 mile an hour.
Sheesh. Yeah. So, what's the worst injury you've had with go-karts? Because I'm sure, they're just like everything else. You're going to wreck, right?
They are. I've been lucky. down in Mississippi, the second year of the Nationals, I got put into the wall and broke a couple of ribs.
Oh.
And that's wearing a rib protector. But I've been pretty lucky. Honestly, you would think that people would get injured more than they do, but there's a lot of safety, neck braces, helmets, a lot of safeties built in. Safety is just as important as speed.
Yeah.
And you don't get hurt as bad as you would think that people would running that kind of speed and something so small.
And Lewis, I know that some of the stuff that through Stout Enterprises, you've also had the opportunity to be a consultant, not just at tracks and on different when folks are doing different associations, but you guys have your own set of tools you guys work with, correct, right?
Yes, sir. I bought a tech tool business out in 2013, I believe it was. And, we've like tripled it since we took it over. But we do training. We teach people how to tech engines at the racetrack. We go to the racetracks and work with them. We do classes at the shop and online to do the training. But we build the tools that checks the legality of the racing engines in go-karting.
Make sure everybody's playing on the same page.
Well, sounds good. Listen, we come back. I know we've got with COVID and everything going on, but hopefully, I know first of the year you have a big show up that we're going to talk about that hopefully will get off the ground here with all the restrictions and everything going on with the with COVID. But we'll talk a little bit about your show that you guys do up in Pigeon Forge, I believe.
Sevierville.
In Sevierville. We'll talk about that when we come back. And we've got a few questions for you guys. It's going to be Mythbusters, Lawn and Garden Edition. When we come back, you're listening to Home Solutions. Stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening right here on Mix 104.1 and 101.3 The Buzz. Welcome back, everybody, to Home Solutions right here on Mix 104.1 and 101.3 The Buzz. Happy Saturday. Getting close here to the top of the hour, so we're finishing up. We've got some great guests here with us in studio. The guys, Travis and Lewis from Stout Enterprises. And Stout Enterprises is a lot of things we found out today. Not only is it small engine repair, not only is it Stout Racing Engines. What's the name of the tools?
Rick's Tech Tools.
Rick's Tech Tools. And, one of the other things is, I know for years you've had one of the largest kind of karting and small engine shows here in the Southeast. Tell us a little bit about that. I know COVID may be throwing that into a little disarray right now because not everybody's ready to pack into a convention center quite yet. But tell us a little bit about the history of that and how that started.
Well, I started it 4 years ago. The biggest show used to be over in Hickory, North Carolina. Cart Fest, it was called, and people would come from all over to that. It was a big show, and then it kind of went away. And I felt that we needed to try to get a show back going, so I looked around to try to find a spot, and we found the Sevierville Convention Center, which is a good family-oriented spot. You can go. There's things for the wife and the daughters to do. Mm-hmm. The sons can come with the fathers to the show and check out all the new go-kart stuff. It has to do anything with small engine. We've had junior dragsters there, racing lawnmowers there, pulling tractors there, drift trikes there. This year, it was in February this year, we had a drag racing simulator where people could sit and challenge each other in a drag racing simulator.
And the motor challenge on the dyno.
And we had a engine dyno challenge that was taking place as well.
What was the name of the show? I don't think I ever said it. I'm sorry.
Southeast Premier Motorsports Expo. It's www.southeastpremiermotorsports Expo. Still in the planning of it because of the COVID. They're saying that we'll have to limit the people coming in, so I don't know that that's best.
Yeah.
So we're looking at possibly trying to do it online and have a
virtual experience.
First time ever.
Hey, it worked for the Democrats and the Republicans. They have virtual conventions. We'll figure it out, man. Tell you what you need to get is that Guilfoyle lady to get up and scream at everybody about go-karts. She'll have him all fired up.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys, obviously, anything related, if it's got an engine and wheels, you guys aren't scared of it when it comes to small engines. So
Or wings.
Or wings.
wings. There you
Or
go.
water. I mean, we built mud boats.
There you
motors.
go. Every time we think we got you guys boxed in, you come up with something new. But hey, you got to get out there and find where the business is. I respect that. So one more time before we get out of here today, we got a little game to play. It's called Mythbusters. We do it here every week. I'm about 0-21 in this game because I think I'm going to get you guys every week. But every week it turns out you guys just are better prepared than I thought you're going to be. And my information is apparently suspect. I need to hang out with a better crowd. So I've got some myths I'm going to give you about small engines, lawnmowers, that sort of thing, anything in the lawn and garden. You're going to tell me if that's confirmed, that I'm right, which I think I am, or if it's busted, and tell us why. You guys ready?
Yeah.
And I haven't prepared you for this, so I can see the look of trepidation on Travis's face. Like, I didn't sign up for this. This is crazy. Myth number 1. Now listen. I had a buddy whose uncle worked at a place where he knew this guy that knew a girl whose dad told her that it doesn't matter what kind of engine you put in a lawnmower, they're all the same. Doesn't matter what the name brand is, they're all the same. You can buy the cheapest one. There's no reason to spend all the money. And when it comes to that stuff, it's a lawnmower. Cheaper is always better. Come on. That's right, correct? That's confirmed. Cheaper is always better.
Busted.
What?
Yeah.
No. Quality really matters. You need to look at the mower as a whole as far as that goes. But engines aren't all the same. They're, how do I explain it? They're
Depending on what you're going to do with the engine.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to buy the cheapest thing you can get if you're going to depend on that mower or engine to work hard day in, day
If you
out.
want to use it more than this season.
That's right. That's right.
Unless you want to keep making that investment year after year.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
And then we question the word investment.
It's like burning money. That's what it's called. Just set it ablaze. All right. So I'm 0 for 1 with you guys, too. That's great. All right. Number 2. There's no real, paying for a name brand. They give you an extended warranty when you buy a mower. Why do I need the maintenance? If something breaks on it, I can just get it fixed from the warranty. I don't need to bring it in to get repaired. I don't need to bring it in to get serviced. When it breaks, I'll just claim it on warranty. Why do I need you guys? Come on. I got you on the warranty thing, don't I? I got you.
busted.
What?
It'd be like on your automobile. If you never take it back for a service,
That's right. Yeah.
they'll void your
You're
warranty.
going to void your warranty. So if you leave gas in there for 3 years and then try to fire it up,
Yeah.
you can't just take it back and say, hey, it's not working.
Or with certain products, you have to use a certain oil. I don't want to
Yeah.
just a steel. When you
Yeah.
when you buy steel, it's under warranty, but you have to use the steel's 2-cycle oil, and they'll actually make you buy oil
Yeah.
when you buy that weed eater blower, whatever it is. And if you don't buy the oil, that voids the warranty before you ever walk out the door with it.
Folks, did you hear that? If you don't hear anything else today, it's a pretty big name brand. If you don't buy you think you're getting something with a great warranty, which I know Steel products have, but it comes with the caveat you got to use their products.
Well, you'll still have their 90-day warranty.
Yeah.
But if you buy their special oil,
Yeah.
they'll increase it 3 years. So why wouldn't you want to buy it and use it?
And I'm assuming it's probably not that much more expensive than anything else, right?
No, it's not.
That goes back to earlier, like we were talking about, getting the good quality oil
All right.
for your products.
My final myth is for you, Travis.
Okay.
Man, go-kart racing's for kids. Period.
That's a hard one to answer, Vince. That is because go-kart racing is the grassroots of racing.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of your NASCAR drivers started.
Yeah.
So is it for kids? Sure. Is it for adults? Absolutely. Like we talked earlier, I was racing a 72-year-old man in the fastest class of the night.
Yeah.
So It's for all of us.
Anybody that wants to say that, you're like, well, you come out here and see if you can get this thing around to 80 around this oval. Give her a go there, Tiger.
That's right. It's not like racing your yard cart around the oak tree in the
Like
backyard.
you're out there by yourself. There's other carts and other drivers and other stuff.
That's right. And Rubbin's racing.
And I'll say this as far as that goes. People has watched Travis race for years, and he's very consistent. They'll want to take his go-kart around the track, and they come back. They're all over the track. They come back and say, how do you drive this? This thing is loose. If you remember the movie Days of Thunder,
Oh, yeah.
loose is fast.
Yeah.
And they have a hard time with it, and I just want to race with it, not 10 minutes before that. So
Listen, folks.
it takes a little practice.
Listen, if you're out there and you've got any questions, you've got something in your garage, maybe out in a shed that needs some TLC, maybe you're thinking about getting into karting, maybe you've got a son or daughter that's wanting to get out there and start getting around the track. Folks, there's nobody. You've got somebody here local who are experts in all of those things. They got a full machine shop. And where are you guys located one more time, Lewis?
190 Starlet Circle Northeast, Cleveland, Tennessee.
There you go. And then how can they get a hold of you guys?
423-584-6663.
And online?
www.stoutracingengines.com.
Folks, again, I'm going to ask you, why aren't you calling Stout? Give them a call. They'll help you out from everything from service, maintenance, rebuilds. Maybe you're like me and they put a whole new engine in. Whew, things. Every time my wife said the other day, every time I start that mower, she says, I just love it. It's just loud. And I said, well, I think it's because there's probably an exhaust issue, but I think I like it that way.
Just don't forget to keep that oil fresh in it.
Yeah,
guys.
there you go. We'll get you guys to get over and get it winterized before we get going, because I'm not dumping any fuel out of anything. That's just a recipe for me to blow something up. So listen, folks, give them a call. Check them out online. You see them around town. Give them a chance. I can tell you they do great work at great prices. You can't be, and they're just down to earth guys. When you go up to the shop, you're going to see Lewis and Travis in there working. So they'll be in there to take good care of you. And guys, thank you so much for coming in today.
We're on Facebook too.
Oh, you got
us on Facebook.
I'm happy. So Facebook, is it under Stout Racing?
Stout Racing Engines.
There you go. Check them out on Facebook. Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. And everybody out there, listen, stay safe. Wear your mask if you want to. Take care of all your loved ones, man. We're in this thing together. Let's get through it. Praying for everybody out there. One more time, you've been listening to Home Solutions. Happy Saturday, everybody, right here. Mix 1041, 1013 The Buzz.